Councilmember Nguyen. Here. Councilmember Tran.
Here.
Councilmember Muñetón.
Here.
Councilmember Aristegui.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dovin.
Present.
And Mayor Klopfenstein.
Here. At this time, we'll do the invocation and pledge. Our Assistant City Manager will lead us in the invocation, and if I could ask Councilmember Cindy Tran to lead us in the pledge, please.
All right, please prepare yourself according to your faith. Dear Lord, as we come together this evening to address the important matters before us, let us do so with a spirit of collaboration and dedication. We are entrusted with the responsibility to shape the future of Garden Grove, and in this moment we seek wisdom and clarity in our deliberations. Lord, we also continue to lift up those affected by the wildfires and offer our deepest gratitude to the brave firefighters, first responders, and all who continue to serve. And lastly, on this special evening, Lunar New Year Eve, tonight we ask for a year ahead of health, happiness, and prosperity. In your name, amen.
You have your hand over your heart, face the flag, and repeat after me.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, we'll turn over to Housing Authority.
We'll just go into Housing Authority. Very good. All right. Please. We're moving on into Housing Authority. City Clerk, if you'd call roll.
Commissioner Aristegui.
Here.
Commissioner Beckles. Here. Commissioner Dovin.
Present.
Commissioner Klopfenstein.
Here.
Commissioner Muñetón.
Here.
Commissioner Philip Nguyen. Here. Commissioner Tran.
Here.
And Vice Chair Brigham.
Here.
And Commissioner Tan Nguyen is absent.
All right. So the first item of business actually is selecting the chair and vice chair. I believe right now I should be turning this over to the vice chair since we do not have our chair currently to conduct the rest of this business. So that'd be Chair Brigham.
Thank you. Having already done the roll, we'll move on to item number 1, selection of chair and vice chair. Is there any motions?
Make a motion.
I second it.
He hasn't made it yet.
We need to select a chair and vice chair. So if you have a motion to select someone potentially to be chair that we can vote on.
I nominate
George.
Councilman George Brigham.
I second that, yeah.
And I'll nominate Mayor Pro Tem Dovin for vice chair.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you repeat? So for chair,
do it
it's
all at once?
Brigham.
Yeah.
Okay, we can. Okay, good. So chair is member Brigham
Brigham
and
and
vice
Dovin.
chair
Joe Dovin.
Dodovin. Perfect. Okay. We'll do a roll call vote.
Yeah, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Aristegui.
Yes.
Commissioner Beckles. Yes. Commissioner Dovin.
Aye.
Commissioner Klopfenstein.
Yes.
Commissioner Muñetón.
Yes.
Commissioner Philip Nguyen. Yes. Commissioner Tran.
Yes.
And Commissioner Brigham.
Yes.
Motion received, 8 yes votes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to consent. Says consent items can be acted on simultaneously with one motion unless somebody wants to pull an item. Do I hear anyone wanting to pull any items? I will entertain a motion.
Second.
You making the motion or are you making the second?
Second.
I make a motion, yeah.
I'll make the motion.
You're the second, okay.
I'll second. Thank you.
So roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Aristegui.
Yes.
Commissioner Beckles. Commissioner Dovin.
Aye.
Commissioner Klopfenstein.
Yes.
Commissioner Muñetón.
Yes.
Commissioner Philip Nguyen.
Yes.
Commissioner Tran.
Yes.
And Commissioner Brigham.
Yes.
Motion received, 8 yes votes.
Matters, do we have any matters from commissioners? No. Okay. Seeing none, we'll adjourn back to City Council.
All right, I believe now I get to go into presentations, and we have quite a few of them this evening. It's always a good day when we get to highlight the wonderful Garden Grove Unified School District, and we are recognizing them in their notable achievements and accomplishments this evening.
Thank you. Would the members of Garden Grove Unified School District's Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Mafi please come forward? And I'm going to prepare to read some accomplishments. Every year, the Garden Grove Unified School District, its educators, schools, and students receive many high-ranking awards and recognitions from federal, state, and local private and public organizations. Last November, GGUSD earned high rankings on the 2024 California School Dashboard, the state's school performance and accountability system. GGUSD was also recognized as a 2024 California Honor Roll District, and 37 of the district schools were named 2024 Honor Roll schools, more than any other school district in Orange County. Also last November, GGUSD elementary and intermediate schools earned high rankings among America's Best K-8 schools in 2025 issued by U.S. News and World Report. 38 elementary schools and all 10 intermediate schools placed among the top 40% in the state. 17 elementary schools and 7 intermediate schools placed in the top 20% across the state. Last October, the California Department of Education released statewide results of the 2023-2024 California Balance Assessment Consortium assessments, which show that GGUSD students continue to outperform the county and state in both English language arts and mathematics for the 5th consecutive year. For the 6th consecutive year, GGUSD also maintains its rank as the 5th highest performing district among large California districts. For the 8th consecutive year, GGUSD is also the highest performing district among comparable large urban school districts. Last September, 5 students from GGUSD were named semifinalists in the 2025 National Merit Scholarship Program, a prestigious recognition earned by less than 1% of high school seniors nationwide. Last May, GGUSD was awarded a nearly $12 million state grant through the California Community Schools Partnership Program to fund 8 community schools over the next 5 years. The program supports schools' efforts to partner with community agencies and local government to align community resources to improve student outcomes. Last April, all 7 of GGUSD's comprehensive high schools earned a spot on the U.S. News and World Report's elite rankings of America's best high schools for the 7th year in a row. GGUSD's highest ranked high school, La Quinta High School, ranked number 88 in California and number 674 in national rankings. All GGUSD high schools scored higher than 75% of the high schools ranked both statewide and across the nation. Also, last April, 18 avid seniors from GGUSD were awarded more than $150,000 in college scholarships during the 2024 Avid Senior Standout Recognition and Scholarship Presentation hosted by the Orange County Department of Education. For the 6th year in a row, GGUSD received the 2024 Best Communities for Music Education Award for outstanding achievement in providing music access and education to all students. GGUSD is one of only 8 districts in Orange County and 34 districts across California to receive this national recognition, awarded to only 974 other districts across the U.S. Last March, Bell Intermediate School was recognized among California Schools to Watch for 2024, the California Department of Education's top honor for high-performing middle schools. Bell is one of only 4 middle schools in Orange County and 52 middle schools from across the state to receive this recognition. Last February, Bell and McGarvin Intermediate Schools were recognized as 2024 California Distinguished Schools by State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tony Thurman. The schools were among the 38 distinguished schools recognized by Orange County Schools for achieving exceptional student performance or closing the achievement gap. Additionally, GGUSD Superintendent Dr. Gabriela Mafi was selected by the Association of California School Administrators, Region 7, for its 2024 Valuing Diversity Award for her exemplary leadership in fostering a district-wide culture and climate that celebrates diversity and implementing systems that ensure success for all students. These recognitions are outstanding distinctions for GGUSD, and the city couldn't be more proud of their accomplishments. At this time, the Mayor and City Council would like to present Garden Grove Unified School District's Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Mafi with a certificate of recognition for their hard work and exceptional results. Congratulations. think if you could come up and receive this. And I know afterward President Nguyen would like to say a few words. I can email it to you too if you want. That's probably a better chance of success. Words to say.
You're gonna get the back of it.
I know. At least I got his fingerprint.
I can send you one of your best.
I'll get his fingerprint.
See, Matt, if you would have graduated from Garden Grove Unified, you'd be able to read that without any problems.
Thank you. Ouch.
Awesome. All right.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. Thank you very much for allowing us to come here today to be recognized. On behalf of the Board of Education, I want to thank the City Council and the Mayor for recognizing the numerous accomplishments of our students, schools, and staff. We are especially proud of the USD outperforming the county and the state in all measures, including state test score, high school graduation rate, A to G rate, and advanced placement participation and exam success rate. A record of academic excellence is a direct result of the hardworking staff who dedicate each and every day to equip all of our students with the academic skill and personal skill for lifelong success. Our dedicated educator work tirelessly to ensure that each student is given the tools and the opportunities they need to reach their full potential. These awards are a reflection of our commitment to ongoing improvement as we work hard to provide all students with the very best education year after year. Our students continue to inspire us as they reach the new heights in the classroom, in visual and out-performing arts, athletics, and in a wide variety of extracurricular activities. Each year, at graduation, we feel confidence about the future because our students are well prepared to be the next generation of leaders in the workforce in our communities. We are deeply grateful for our wonderful partnership with the City of Garden Grove and remain appreciative of many ways in which the city has supported our district, our school, and our students over the years. Together, we continue to build a future for our community. And thank you very much for this honor.
Thank you so much. As a proud alumni, my daughter's in the Unified School District and flourishing, and we thank you for your commitment, contributions, and hard work for the children of Garden Grove. We love being able to celebrate Garden Grove Unified School District, so thank you all so much. Oh, sure, of course.
Congratulations. So when Matt was reading that, I was trying to write down one or two things to mention. Oh my God, it was a long list. And so I just want to recall a couple of things that I have participated with Garden Grove Unified District. Just amazing. When I went to the award night, more than 150,000 were given out. Just amazing. Like so many students got the award. And look at all the things that, you know, the whole school, the teacher and everybody that support, and we got to accomplish those achievements. So I just want to say congratulations, and we are so proud of you guys. Every time we get to go there, make us super excited, and thank you for doing your work.
Thank you again. We'll move on to presentation number 2. We have a report from Groundswell, formerly known as the OC Human Relations Commission, is presented by Christian Lopez.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everyone. My name is Christian Lopez. I'm a board member of Groundswell, and I'm here to say thank you and to recognize the City of Garden Grove. Grove's commitment to connecting with the diverse members of your community with the goal of creating inclusion, safety, and opportunity for all Garden Grove residents. We are Groundswell, a nonprofit organization that supports your efforts towards creating inclusion and safe, and also connects your efforts with other cities across Orange County to create a web of hard work and goodwill that fully value and leverage our county's diversity. Groundswell's partners with the City of Garden Grove and other neighboring cities to promote civil discourse to support cities, schools, and corporations with educational programs as they navigate sensitive issues related to intergroup relations, access, and injustice, and to respond to hate crimes and promote compassion. As we're all aware by now, the recent pandemic tested our societal bonds, and social media has exacerbated our differences rather than highlighting our common strengths and potential impact as a connected community. Knowledge is power, and to combat the divisiveness and to tap into Orange County's full potential, we've developed training on the history of Orange County's civil rights, on conflict resolution, on implicit bias, on community building, and have organized that training under the banner of Orange County Together, offering training for corporations, nonprofit organizations, governments, and schools. Orange County Together has trained over 2,181 participants in 91 workshops and plans to train more OC residents this year. Groundswell also offered conflict resolution and mediation services. Countywide, we've mediated 951 court cases and 87 completed community cases in the past year. We are partnering with 2 cities to provide mediation services to their residents through their housing development. These partnering cities are offering mediation services as an early intervention to reduce the emotional toll of conflicts and empower neighbors and landlords to find creative resolutions together. The bond between the City of Garden Grove and Groundswell has been strong for years, and we would like to express our gratitude for your City Dues program participating, which helps to fund many of the activities previously noted. Partnerships like one between the City of Garden Grove and Groundswell provides hope, promote compassion, support our economy's continued growth, keeping our neighbors and residents safe, and co-creating a community of belonging. To honor our partnership and say thank you, we are pleased to present Madam Mayor with a Groundswell Community 2024 certificate and to celebrate knowledge, compassion, and community as our community governing principles. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much for your time this evening. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. Sure, of course.
Yeah, we've been using, before they were the OC Human Relation Commission, and now Groundswell, and, the city has used them on a number of applications involving neighbors sometimes and that kind of thing, and it's, by everyone that I've heard from, it's been well received, and it's been a very helpful service. So I just want to give a shout out to Christian and the whole organization, and thank you for all your hard work.
Yeah, you've been coming here for years. We really appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. And we have one more presentation this evening. This will be an update on the Civic Center Revitalization Project as requested by City Manager Kim.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. We have the Edgemoor team and our city staff, and Craig Beck, our Executive Director overseeing the project, will be leading off the presentation.
Thank you, Lisa. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. We're excited to be before you here in 2025 to talk about our great Public Safety Civic Center Revitalization Project. We have a number of updates that we want to share with you this evening. I'm going to ask Christina Solomon to hit it off for our development partner, Edgemoor, and go through the slide deck.
Thank you, Craig. Mayor, council members, thank you so much for having us. Good evening. Really excited to give you an update on where we are on the Civic Center Revitalization Project. As you can see, you can start to see construction happening, which is a really exciting time. So we'll go through and talk about the progress to date, give an update or an overview of the public safety facility, as well as a construction overview, and then we'll give an update on the park. So first, I know every time we talk about how exciting this project has been and how quickly we've been able to move through this project. This slide just shows the accomplishments that we have had over the first year of the project. So we came on board in October of 2023, and by October of 2024, we had broken ground, we had designed the building, and we were in the ground, and we finalized our guaranteed maximum price within budget, all within 1 year. Shortly, we'll talk about what's happened since October for looking ahead at the next year, but really just the accomplishments that we've had on this project, moving with the speed that we have, really just is an example of what you can do with alignment across the board. So thank you so much for the support from council, from staff, our team, several members of whom are here, and the police department as well. We've really all worked together. Really, this is unprecedented, honestly, for us to move this fast, and it really is just a testament to the alignment of Garden Grove, and we just really appreciate that. So moving on, just an overview of the public safety facility. So this is a new police building on the corner of Euclid and Acacia. So we have some updated renderings. One of the things I did want to highlight on this new rendering is the monument sign. So we've been talking a lot about how we want to show the place of the Garden Grove Police Department. And so this monument sign serves a couple purposes. One, it lets you know where you are, but two, it's also a security measure. So it's built very strong we have a concrete seat wall in the front as well as a concrete plinth that where the graphic will sit. So one, it gives you that sense of place, but it's also security. So if anything happens in that intersection, it provides a level of security for the people who are in that little plaza area as well as the lobby of the building. And then just a couple other shots. So this is a night view from Euclid and Acacia. On the left-hand side, you'll see that beacon stair. So we've talked a little bit about how the conceit of the architecture for this building is this beautiful ribbon that ties the community to the Garden Grove Police Department, and it comes together in this beacon stair, which is to bring people to PD, to show it as a pillar of the community. So you can see how this really lights up at night. One of the things that we talked about with the police department, though, is from a safety perspective, making sure that you can see through this glass, but you can see light through this glass, but you cannot see through this glass. So we consider, as we looked at all the glazing selections throughout the building, really thinking about safety and security as a forefront of the decision making. And then just some other views. This will be the view from City Hall. So you can see the Memorial Plaza off to the right. We'll have another view of that as well. The Memorial Plaza. So this is on Acacia looking towards Euclid. We will relocate the police memorial from where it currently sits to this new location. And on the second floor, where you can see that nice ribbon, that's where the briefing room is for PD. It'll give a nice view from the briefing room to the Memorial Plaza. We've also spent a lot of time with the police department understanding how the memorial ceremony works and operates every year, so that this plaza has been designed with that in mind so that the operations can work seamlessly. And here's some views at the public spaces. So on the ground floor, we have the lobby and then the community room, which is right off the lobby. Again, right, you can see the police memorial from there as well. And then some conferencing spaces, briefing room, large conference rooms. We're excited to add some more conferencing room opportunities for the city in this building that are up to date with technology, video conferencing, really will allow for a well-functioning building long into the future. And then the break room. So on the third floor of the building, we have a communal break room for the entire PD. There are break areas throughout the building, so folks don't need to go all the way to the third floor for a microwave or for water. We have bottle fillers throughout the building, as well as individual break rooms for coffee, et cetera, throughout as well. And with that, I'll hand it over to Keith, who will talk a little bit about construction.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. I'll be giving a short construction update. So first and foremost, we are on schedule. But just to kind of go over what we've accomplished in the past few months and what we can expect for most of 2025 here. So a few months ago, we improved the soil conditions and installed hundreds of stone columns 20 feet below the surface to improve the site condition. So that supports the building foundation. And actually, this week, we expect to complete building foundation. So that's a huge accomplishment. In the next month, in February, we expect to complete below grade utilities. And then, as you've been seeing, obviously, the PD building is now going vertical. I'll share some pictures in a bit here. But in a few months, we'll be expecting to top out the building. And that's a huge construction milestone where we reach the full structural height of the building. And after that milestone, we'll be able to install the curtain wall glass and expect a watertight building in late 2025 here. And then in the coming spring here, we actually will be starting construction on the parking garage. So a few photos, as I said. So here you can see a couple photos of site utility work that has been completed. So the two photos to the left just shows some pipe and conduit that's being installed underneath the building. And then to the two photos on the right, just utility work that's being done on Euclid Street and Acacia Parkway as we connect to the utilities on the main streets. And then here you can see the walls and the columns of the building that support the load and stability of the building. This is essentially the skeleton of the building, and it's going up to the first, second, and third floor. Slab on grade. So we've been pouring a ton of concrete almost every week the past couple months here, and the biggest pours are the slab on grade and elevated decks. They are our most complicated and intensive activity on the projects thus far. We've poured hundreds of concrete cubic yards, have dozens of trucks for each pour. Most of these heavier pours are 12-hour days that start very early in the morning and are supported by tens of workers to make sure that coordination, teamwork, and success is achievable. So here are just a couple photos. As you can see, pump trucks, crews, concrete. It's a lot of work that's being placed into the building right now. I'll hand it back over to Christina.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. And now I'll give a little update on where we are at the park. As you know, the PD building is phase 1, the park is phase 2. So once the public safety facility is complete, PD has moved into their public safety, the new building. We will demolish the old building, maintaining the fire department, and that will make way for a beautiful new Civic Center park. So very early on, we had conceptual ideas of what this park could look like, really trying to capture the essence of Garden Grove in a garden and a budding flower. And you'll see that we really looked at bringing all this energy around an event lawn, and that's really where we've started to land. So in the park, you have this beautiful event lawn that's surrounded by walkways, trees, etc. I'll get a little bit more into that. But what I wanted to highlight is just how this helps to integrate the entire civic core. So the PD building on the left-hand side, the library to the north, CMC, Senior Center, all of this really ties nicely with the new park. There's going to be beautiful walking paths from City Hall to CMC as well. So really what we wanted to do is make the entire core feel like more of a campus, and this park really helps to bring everything together. We're going to talk a little bit about the elements of the park. As I mentioned, everything really centers around this beautiful event lawn, which on off times is a nice place for passive activity, but then gives a lot of ample opportunity for programming. So if we start at the top right, I'll go through some of the other elements of the park, but at the top we're looking at a playground in that circular area over by the Senior Center that will also be surrounded by fitness equipment. There is some existing fitness equipment there that we will add additional fitness equipment to round out some of the offerings. And then if you move further south, there will be an event stage. This will really anchor the event lawn and give it an anchor, give it a purpose, and provide an opportunity for a lot of programming. So that will be there. And then behind that, tucked away more in a quieter part of the park, will be the Memorial Grove. This is set to be a place of reflection and solace, so keeping it in a quieter spot of the park. And then if you continue moving clockwise, there'll be a beautiful entry plaza. This plaza will serve as the entry point to the park, but will be essentially the end of Civic Center Drive, will terminate at that plaza. The walkways from City Hall will bring you to that plaza. So it really gives you a beautiful welcoming spot for the park. And then if you continue moving north, there's a new restroom for the park. And then you can see there's several walking trails both around the park and then around the police facility as well, to give ample space for people to get exercise and walk around, especially paired with the fitness equipment. Be a really nice opportunity for the community. And then the green corridor, so this area that's north of the PD building and south of the library, we've been calling the green corridor. In this area, we want to make sure it's a really lighted and safe experience for people who are walking around that path. So we've been focusing more recently on lighting studies to make sure that path feels open and safe at all times of the day. And then lastly, public art. There were several pieces of art that we salvaged from the old park that we will be repurposing and bringing back into the new park. So we're very excited about how this has all come together. And then, as I mentioned, one of the things that we've been looking at is thinking about how this can get programmed. What we wanted to provide with this park is the the map essentially that can get programmed in several different ways. So we've looked at ways you can use the event lawn. You can have a seated event that can fit about 2,500 people, a concert, about 2,000 people. If you're doing movies, yoga, et cetera, about 500 people with blankets, et cetera. And then we also looked at food trucks because we know that Garden Grove likes to do a lot of food truck events. So you can fit about 14 food trucks around the walkway. These can be trucks, these can be booths. There's a lot of opportunities here to program this park. And then just here's some imagery. So we're working on a playground design, as I mentioned. So here's some inspiration for what that could look like. And then the event stage. So tying into that ribbon conceit from the PD and making sure the architectures talk to each other. We're looking at this beautiful stage that, again, will anchor that event lawn to provide a really nice area for events, graduations, lots of opportunities there. And then we're also looking at artistic lighting. So on the green path, we're definitely looking at some artistic lighting opportunities as well as event lighting for the event lawn and ways to just, again, make sure that it's beautiful, safe, and well lit. We're studying all of that. And then we are also looking at a landmark for the park. So in that entry plaza, looking at what is that landmark that signifies you are here at the Garden Grove Civic Center Park. So we've been studying some opportunities to bring in large graphics. So here's a conceit of one of the items we're looking at during the day, and then you can see how it can transform at night. Really trying to play with colors and light, which is a really nice way to bring some more depth and fun to some of these elements. And then, as I mentioned, there are several walkways. So looking at walkways around the park, around the park are wide. You can see the stage in the background on the right-hand side, again, how that anchors that event lawn. And then here you can see on the left-hand side a preliminary view at the sort of the restroom plaza, and then the walk up to CMC from City Hall. So that's what we've got. Really excited about this.
So I just want to add one quick note that the design is coming to almost conclusion in the park. We anticipate it'll be fully completed by March with construction documents ready to go through plan checks. So the team is really working hard to get to that milestone, and we look forward to kind of achieving that and then refocus back on getting phase one topped out and move forward with construction. We're available if you have any questions. Thank you for your time.
Yes, we do have a few questions. Mayor Pro Tem.
Just feedback. No question. First of all, congratulations coming this far. We'll have a lot more to report back to the public, but progress has been very, very excellent. We're on time. I'd like to think of it as a project for everyone. It's our version of the Central Park also. It's built in. We were in Nanyang. It was a beautiful Central Park and the envy of every city, including ours, and we're gonna work off your intelligent design. It's gonna be a part of the smart city and really bring us into the 21st century. So thank you, Christina, Craig, and Keith, and the rest of the team, and especially Clark Construction. They're doing a great job.
They are.
Thank you for touring us last week. It was a first-hand look at everything. I get a little queasy up high, and I can't walk the whole site. It's large. It's really large, and the public space, it's user-friendly, and we're going to have a lot of events. And I talked to Craig and the whole design team about making it a tourist attraction, and iconic, and with all the landscape design. And I know it's hard work to try to work it in, and you're on a fixed budget, so we're getting the most for our money, believe it, people. We're actually getting more than we paid for, so we thank all our consultants in construction. I myself would like to contribute some plants or trees. If we can put in some cherry trees, my family and I, Dina and Wynn, will donate 10, 20 cherry trees, as big as you like. And if you can work that into design, we'll put as many or as little as you want, and it'll be from private coffers. It won't burden the public trust funds. So
You're out there picking all your cherries.
yeah, there you go. We'll get cherry blooms every year, and it'll be in pink and red and all the other colors. So we'd like to add to that space and make it an attraction. Lastly, coming in the summer, we'll tour it again when you say you top out. and then we'll have another tour when it's watertight, and I look forward to that, and then we'll come just in time before the rainy season. So we basically go full speed ahead into the spring, and wrap it up come the autumn. So that's a spring to autumn project, which is going to make us all very, very proud. And so I love seeing it come up, and that's just feedback, no questions.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, goodness. Councilmember?
Go ahead.
Please.
First of all, thank you so much for the construction site on January 21st. The first time I saw, before I have a lot of wondering, but after the site, I was very excited.
Good.
Love it, and looking forward to it. You guys did a great job. The only one question I have is, in our park, do we allow like Tai Chi instructor or all the
Yes.
exercise dancing?
Yes.
They can form their class in there, just like at the Mount Square Park. We can do it?
Absolutely.
Excellent. That's it for me.
Yes. Councilmember Brydon, and then Councilmember.
I think some of the council members weren't here for the last update when Councilmember Dovin had requested a walkway going across from City Hall to the third floor to the third floor of the police station. So we refer to that to the Councilman Joe Dovin walkway, and I see that still isn't planned for. But no, one of the things that I've got some feedback from the community on, is they lost their lake. And that was a pretty special lake for a lot of people. And they would like to see a water feature incorporated into this park space, the new park space. So, I think it's important that we do that. I mean, we took away a major water feature for our community. I think we should, at minimum, give them another water feature back. So I'm hoping that can be incorporated in the plan somehow. And I don't know how everyone else feels, but I think it's kind of a nice gesture. We've taken a big thing away. We make something there to kind of help ease the pain a little bit. But other than that, you guys are doing a great job. I'm seeing things move very rapidly, which is always good when you're doing public projects.
Absolutely.
So anyway, thank you guys for all your hard work.
Yes, thank you.
So during the time that we did the tour, the one thing that you keep hearing is this is a dream team. And that is just reflection back to the whole team, right? We have the contractor, the construction and the staff, and then the council here. And it seemed like everybody was super excited and just so embraced of the project and cannot wait to see the end, the result. And so I just want to say thank you so much to you guys, and of course our staff for working so hard, Greg, and the council here that's supporting this project. I agree with Council Brigham talking about the water feature, and I mentioned that during the tour too. Also, one note I want to say here that a lot of things that we gave feedback from early at the beginning, the council here that for the previous review, we gave a feedback, you guys took that and work on it. So that's kind of amazing feeling, we actually, because we hear from the resident and relate to the pond too, right? You saw that the resident came here, and I know that we talked to the staff, and it's gonna cost a lot for the maintenance, etc. But we don't have to do gigantic thing. We could do somewhat that we embrace that, and then we want to keep that, so that way people will remember the pond that was there with the duck. So just want to say thank you so much for your hard work, and say thank to our staff too. Thank you.
I just did want to comment about the water feature. I want you to know that it is part of the design conversation, that we are looking at how best to integrate that and what those options and costs look like. So those options will ultimately be reviewed and presented, and we'll make a decision based on cost and how it would work in the park design.
Councilmember Munaton.
Yeah, I wanted to know, will the stage area be open for all, at all times, or will it be by reservations? Will there be a fee for that as well, or will it?
We haven't gotten that far in terms of understanding how it's going to get programmed, the logistics around programming of it, but the intent is that it can be used. It'll be essentially like public art when it's not being used for events. So yes, there will probably be some times when there are events that it cannot be used, but generally it'll be open to use.
And then also, what will be the hours for the park? Like, what will be the projected hours for operating in the park?
Well, we plan to have lighting, safe levels of lighting throughout the night. So it'll be safe throughout. In terms of actual hours of operation,
We have an ordinance that has park hours in our municipal code, and I believe it's 8 to 10.
So that's across the board,
It's
correct?
for all
Right.
parks in the
Correct,
city.
yes.
Yeah, and this one would be no different unless the city council adopts an ordinance to adopt a specific, time for this particular park.
Thank you.
Hi, I just want to thank you guys so much for all of the hard work that you've put into this project, and that goes to Edgemore, to Clark Construction, to our wonderful staff, and to our police department as well, because it really is unprecedented how quickly this project was put together, approved, how quickly you've been able to break ground and make as much progress in phase one. This level of progress would have taken years in other municipalities, and you've managed to accomplish this really quickly. And I think it goes to show that there's been that excitement from council, from staff, from you guys as partners in getting this project done. So I want to commend you and thank you guys for that. I really enjoyed the tour that you guys put together for us. I had a really great time. I loved seeing all of the different facets of the construction and really envisioning what the building is going to look like. I really appreciate in the design of the police building that there is now space for community programming, right, to bring members of the community in. After we had our tour of the construction site, Chief Amir very graciously toured myself and Councilmember Muñeton through the existing police department building. So we were able to see firsthand how very, very pressing the need is for them to expand the footprint of their operations. There is definitely a need for them to grow in order to improve the way that they operate, but also because, again, they're going to have that space to bring more programming, right, to bring more members of the community in. So I really appreciated that aspect of the design. I also want to thank Craig. Thank you so much for indulging all of my questions with regards to the park. I really want to point out that there is a lot of intentionality behind the design of this park in particular. And I really appreciate that you guys are creating a park that's going to grow with the residents, what's going to be a very generational park that is going to look different in different seasons and in different facets of its existence. So I want to thank you guys for paying that mind and that attention to the design, because I think that our residents are really going to benefit from that. And we're all going to be able to enjoy the programming as a result of that. So thank you so much. I'm so excited to go to see the topping off and continue on with the next phase of this project.
Thank you so much.
Well, as you can see, we're pretty excited, very proud of this project. And so I can only imagine, Chief, how the department feels overall and how excited they are to move in. So thank you so much for this presentation. Yes.
I'll go along with Mayor Pro Tem that I would like to donate tree too. I love tree in the park.
I feel like I need to start an auction bid up here. 5 trees, 10 trees sold.
Yeah, so we'll back you up on the tree.
But maybe some pears,
Yeah.
so we can have pears and cherries.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Whatever the team needs.
Thank
We'll do
you
it.
so much. Thank you.
Don't forget.
I follow that step too. Yes. We'll donate a tree.
Amazing.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and move on to oral communication.
You're going to have more trees than you needed.
All right, thank you again for the presentation. We're all very excited. We're going to move on to oral communication. I do have a handful of cards, so we'll get started on them. First up, Douglas Werner. Oh, we got a bunch tonight.
No, I really like them.
Hi, thank you very much for letting me speak up here. My name is Doug Werner. I've been a teacher in Garden Grove Unified for 31 years, teaching mostly fourth grade or elementary school, third through sixth. I felt a great sense of pride when you were presenting the award to the board and Dr. Maffei, and when the thank you speech was given, I felt like I was getting an award too, even though I didn't. But you still have time. This is Emma. Emma is in my class currently. She is my favorite Emma right now. That's what you say. I'm your only Emma.
I am Emma.
I'm your only Emma.
I'm your only Emma.
They always call me out. But we are here to give special thanks to Councilwoman Tran. She came to my classroom prior to the Christmas vacation and presented each student in my class, there are 20, with their individual art kit. They're individually wrapped. They all opened them at the same time, and they made thank you notes and cards for Councilwoman Tran to present to her, and I wanted to give those to her now. But I have Emma's here, and I'd kind of like Emma to go ahead and present it and read it herself.
Thank you from Emma. Thank you for the art kit, Miss Chan. I love it.
Hold up the card for the camera.
That's lovely. Yes, you can get it. Sure.
I'll take it.
But I have others here too, and the class is very appreciative. They use the art kits whenever they bring them to class. They're allowed every day, whenever they want. At home, they carry them back and forth in their backpacks. But again, thank you very much, Councilwoman Tran.
I didn't expect this, but thank you so much. I can't visit your classroom. Thank you.
Oh, no.
Take your jacket
No,
off.
no, no. Oh, wait.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I'll get mine. I'll give it to her.
Okay. Oh, this way, turn this way.
How about from this side? There you go.
1, 2, 3. Smile, John. 1, 2, 3.
Over here too.
Over here.
Over here. There you go.
We couldn't figure out your phone, so we'll send it.
Yeah, your phone special. I can't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice surprise. Thank you.
Point of order, real quick, Madam Mayor. I just want to say also, Councilwoman Tran has been giving away those art kits for years, even before she was on the city council. And you know, I just think it's a wonderful thing that she does that every year. And she invites the rest of the council to come and help her gift those boxes every year to the kids. So
That's very
anyway,
nice.
hats off to you, Councilwoman Tran.
Thank you. Nick Dibbs, come on down.
Well, I was with Councilwoman Tran when those were given out, and I want to thank you, Councilwoman Tran, for inviting me to go. So thank you again, Mr. Warner. It was nice to meet you and your students and to be part of that effort. So thank you again. And this is your last year in the district after 31 years. So you deserve a medal, 31 years in the district, and congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm Nicholas Dibbs, and you know, I don't always agree with everything everybody says, but I do agree that they have the right to say it. I've been in this room when Chris Lopez from the Orange County Human Relations has spoken. Disabled man. I think that our council, and I'm going to ask the council members to please put this on the agenda for the discussion item for the next meeting. If you're disabled and you can't be here at a council meeting and you live in Garden Grove, you should be allowed to call in. And out of respect for this man, you know, I've seen him here a number of years as they've gone by. There's other people like him in our city, and they can't be here in person. So please, I'm going to ask, there's what, 7 of you up there? And can one of you or 2 of you just ask to put it on the agenda as a discussion item? Can we allow people to call in who have a disability or medical condition who can't physically be here to call in to the council meetings so that they can participate and provide input to you, the council members and the mayor, and so on. So please, I'm speaking to all of you at once instead of calling each of you individually. George, you're my representative. Could you please put it on? Otherwise, I got to go over to your house and knock on your door. Anyway. Okay. Anyway. Okay, number one. Number two. Unfortunately, the school district people aren't here. They left. But my message to them is the same also, to allow people to call in. We need to bring back our Youth and Government Day that we had. You know, I'm a graduate with honors at Pacifica High School. We had Youth and Government Day when I was a student. George, you had it when you were there, I guess, and or later on when you were on the active in the city earlier, and our Youth Commission. I'm not saying replace the Teen Collaborative, but we do need our Youth Commission back as a bridge between helping the students and so on. It's a commission that would be like they have in Long Beach, which would be adults and younger people. So we can facilitate mentoring programs, internships, career opportunities, speakers, safety, other things to help our youth in our city. So could we bring back a youth advisory group? If you don't want to call it a commission, call it a group. Okay, I've gone over my time, but safe route to schools. We had, what, a baby
Nick, please.
killed on Hastert. That needs
You've
to
got to
be
wrap it
addressed.
up, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Joan Glover.
Happy New Year to the council. Congratulations to the mayor. Well, I don't have happy news today. We're talking about beautiful buildings being constructed, and I live at 11361 Bowles Avenue. I think I'm in District 2, Mr. Wynn's area. And we have a problem in the back where the old railroad tracks used to go. And right now, there's a temple there on Mac, which I'm new to this. I just heard about this yesterday, and it's like, I have to go talk to the council. This needs to be heard. It's been a problem area for many, many years. We have had homeless people sleeping back there. We've had little tent cities built back there. It's a very dirty area. It's all dirt. And now the temple, according to Project A 315458, has a special permit to build a parking lot back there in the dirt for Chinese New Year. Now, I'm going to say, fine, if you need extra space to accommodate more people for the holiday, I understand that. Most of my neighbors understand that. But this permit significantly extends the time, not only for Chinese New Year. This permit goes to February 2nd, starting tomorrow, it's the 25th, right? Tomorrow through February 2nd. But this permit at will can be extended. Now, if we digress from that area, from Mac, and we go up to Magnolia Street, that entire area will be a combination of 3 temples. If we allow parking lot in back of one temple on Mac, we're going to allow a parking lot for all of that area, which will be all temple, all. There's a big one just in north on Orangewood, and then that's the one, that's the biggest, that's the one that's going to be expanding. And then that expansion will take you to Mac, and you have the one on Mac, and then we have more. We probably have more within a 5-mile radius than anywhere else in Garden Grove. I don't mean to harm, and I don't mean to injure or hurt anyone. I understand the need for right now, but we cannot allow that to continue. We just can't. I see, excuse me, I see cars driving back there in the dirt. Our houses will be nothing but dust magnets for the whole thing. I'm worried about this Chinese New Year because of the fireworks. And, oh, I'm sorry, talk faster. The fireworks last 4th of July burnt the cushions in my backyard. This year, it can happen again. So please give us some consideration. It's not a very happy place to live right now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Maureen Blackman.
waiting for a while to address the new mayor. I'm Maureen Blackman. I live in District 3. Hello, Mayor Klopfenstein, City Council, and staff. I want to thank the city for allowing the Garden Grove Neighborhood Association and the Lerma family the use of the beautiful facility and the staff for the 3rd annual Rick Lerma Blood Drive. Rick was a consummate volunteer in our community. He was a part of numerous service groups and a huge supporter of our city and our police department. This blood drive gave us an opportunity to show our appreciation for Rick and to model his behavior. Staff could have not been more accommodating and professional, and I thank you. I also want to thank the donors and the volunteers who helped with it. The refreshments made it a really wonderful day. So thank you. I have one more thing on the public hearing item number 15, so I don't have to get up again. I wanted to commend staff and Nikki Wetzel on this item. The report demonstrates clearly the need to increase our planning fees. The city should not be going in the hole to subsidize building. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Kyle Mason.
Good evening, everybody. It's missed the last couple of meetings. I'm back here basically to say thank you to the police officers. These guys are really doing a pretty good job, and whatever they need, please give it to them. We need more of them. The riverbed right next to us is crazy. I got so many pictures. I mean, they say that nobody's going down there. It's funny that they go down there, and within an hour and a half, here they are climbing the fence and going down there. What does it take to put a stop? Well, down there is a hallway. They need to put a metal fence across there to stop them from going in that hallway to the rooms, to block them. You guys can do this. The mayor said that they can't do that. Well, I don't believe it. They said it has to do with the county. Well, the mayor's in charge of the city. Am I right or wrong? If not, then I guess the mayor doesn't have anything to say about anything. We'll just let everybody do all their drug dealing and do whatever they want down below. It's a freeway. Even today, you ought to see the pictures I took just today alone of the people coming out of there and of the gray building. And you know, Cindy Tran, the gray building I'm talking about. They go into that parking lot. The wall for the riverbed should be minimum 6 feet high with something over it so the people can't go over it. It's a freeway. What does it take to put a stop? I got physical with somebody. I put someone in the hospital. I had the police come visit me, 9 of them. I'll tell you what, I'm glad they did come visit me and asked me to slack off a little bit. I will slack off just a little bit, not much. I told you guys I was going to do it, and I did. I did put somebody in the hospital, and if I have to continue to do so, I will do so to keep the people from out of there. We are tired of the people going and coming from down there. I don't know what it takes, but you can put a fence down there and you can stop it. I don't know what else to say. I haven't had a chance to talk with you, Philip, yet or anything. I just found out I got cancer and I'm battling something that I didn't even know. So, but I would like to talk with you, sir, and hopefully we can catch up and maybe I can show you some things that you haven't seen.
I did go about that.
I know you did. But it's funny. A lot of times the police show up, and when they do show up, these guys hide. And they see you guys coming. They got a lot of eyes everywhere, and so do I. They removed the security from the mall next door to us, and they put a new security team in there, thank God. Someone with a cart that they drive around, and they have to check in on different spots, and I'm glad. So, but we need more of them. And whatever the police need, please let them have it.
Thank you,
I'm
Kyle.
thankful they came and visit me. Thank you.
Thank you. Janelle Villanueva?
Hello, Council. My name is Janelle, a fellow public servant
a resident of Orange County with loved ones who reside and conduct business in District 2 within the beautifully diverse city of Garden Grove, which I'm happy to see is reflected amongst the council members. I am here on behalf of the children and families who are in a unique point in time of being well connected to the news beyond their city limits. The recent news of immigration authorities gaining more power and having access to schools and places of worship have instilled fear amongst your community. The Huntington Beach City Council members voted unanimously to sidestep California's sanctuary law, also known as Senate Bill 54, and directed their law enforcement to cooperate with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Meanwhile, the mayor of Anaheim and their officials stated they are a welcoming city to immigrants and will continue to uphold the state sanctuary law. The Santa Ana City Council members had declared their city as a sanctuary city since 2016. Garden Grove's mission statement is to provide responsible leadership and quality services as we promote safety, cultural harmony, and life enrichment. What is the city of Garden Grove doing to maintain safety and cultural harmony and calm the fears of your community? Will you be upholding the state sanctuary law? I trust that this council can understand and empathize with any person's need to be a part of a country built on the foundation that all are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I thank you for your time, council, and await eagerly on your public response to your community's concerns.
Thank you. That's all the cards that I have for oral communication. I do have a public hearing card, but we'll get to that in a second. At this time, I believe we're going to recess and move on to our other legislative bodies, starting with our successor agency. So if we can call roll, please.
Councilmember Bradicam.
Here.
Member Nguyen.
Here.
Member Tran.
Here.
Member Dovin.
Present.
Member Aristegui.
Here.
Vice Chair Muñetón.
Here.
And Chair Klopfenstein.
Here. Oral communication was held simultaneously with our other legislative bodies. We'll move on to the consent calendar. We have receive and file the minutes from the meeting held on January 14th. Unless any comments or anything, I'll take a motion. We have a motion and a second. Please call for the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Any matters from successor agency members? Seeing none, we will go ahead and adjourn. And that takes us on to the sanitary district. Please call roll.
Member Bradicam.
Here.
Member Nguyen.
Here.
Member Dovin.
Present.
Member Muñetón.
Here.
Member Aristegui.
Here.
Member Klopfenstein.
Here.
And Vice President Tran.
Here.
At this time, I'm assuming I need to turn this over to Vice President, yes, Tran, to conduct the rest of this meeting.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The oral communication to be held simultaneously with the other legislation bodies, so that one done, right?
Correct.
Okay. So next is the consent item. Do we have any?
Madam Vice President, we
Number
need to
one.
do a selection of the President and Vice President first.
Ma'am. So we open for the selection of the President and Vice President.
If I may, customarily, the mayor does sit as president of the sanitary district, so not to nominate myself, but if everyone is comfortable with that, I will.
I'll move to that.
I'll make the nomination.
Okay,
How's that?
thank
So
you.
you don't have to nominate yourself.
I'd appreciate that. And then we'll still need a vice chair, so.
I nominate Cindy. She did a great job last time.
Second. Okay, so we have the voting, so now we call for the voting, yeah. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Thank you so much. So the next item is the consent item. Do we have any, or do I pass to you? To the
Pass back to me now, yeah.
Perfect, yes.
Sorry, it's a little confusing. We'll move on to the consent calendar. There's 3 items here. I can take them all in one motion.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, any matters from board members? Seeing none, we will adjourn back to City Council. This takes us on to our consent calendar. I would like to pull item number 4, which is a proclamation celebrating January 29th as Lunar New Year, but I will accept a motion for the balance.
I'll second both, the pulling.
Oh,
and
yes,
the-
thank you.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
second both the pulling and the balance, move the balance.
A second
I'll
to move the
second it.
balance. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Thank you. And if I can ask our Mayor Pro Tem to please read this proclamation for us this evening.
Yes, it's my distinct honor to read the proclamation celebrating January 29, 2025 as Lunar New Year. I won't be reading as well as Emma. I also have a niece named Emma. So this proclamation is for all the Emmas in the world. We're all battling something, but we'll get over it together. Today, Lunar New Year is everybody's birthday, traditionally, so we give everybody a happy birthday. Whereas Garden Grove enjoys the privilege of rich diversity that includes the internationally known Little Saigon, and whereas Little Saigon is the home of the largest Vietnamese American population and is fortunate to share in its rich and vibrant culture. And whereas Tet, or the Vietnamese Lunar New Year, is one of the most important celebrations in Vietnamese culture, and whereas Tet Nguyen Dang, which means feast of the first morning of the first day, that celebrates the arrival of spring based on the Vietnamese calendar, and whereas the year 2025 is identified as the year of the snake, representing wisdom and renewal, and for those born in the year of the snake are said to be perceptive, intuitive, and wise. And whereas that is an occasion to share traditional foods, enjoy family reunions, and to forget about the troubles of the past year, and hope for a healthy, happy, and prosperous new year. Now therefore be it proclaimed that January 29, 2025 be recognized in Garden Grove as the Vietnamese Lunar New Year, and to hope this Lunar New Year brings good health, happiness, and prosperity. January 28, which is today, 2025. And I always also want to expand the New Year celebratory congratulations to everyone and all the events around Garden Grove was well participated. So thank you. And it's not just Vietnamese Lunar New Year, it's everyone's Lunar New Year. So we can all celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem. I believe we have a motion and a second. We need to call for the vote on this item, don't we? Yes.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Thank you so much. Okay, we will move on to public hearings. I believe item 15, we have a staff presentation, adoption of a resolution, adopting and amending various planning and building fees.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening we have Community Development Director Nikki Wetzel introducing the item.
Thank you. Mayor Kloppenstein, members of the City Council. We have Terry Madsen here with Clear Source Financial, and Terry will be presenting the fee study.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak with you this evening. I'll just wait for the presentation to come up. Oh, thank you. So as mentioned, my name is Terry Madsen. I'm here from ClearSource, and our company helps communities throughout the state identify the cost of providing services and establishing fees for cost recovery. This evening's topic is linked to a recently completed building and planning fee study. I'll walk you through a presentation. The first half of the presentation talks conceptually, and the second half thinks specifically about Garden Grove. Just by way of orienting you, we'll talk about some background, some fundamentals and terminology that are common throughout the state, what we're seeing in Garden Grove, and next steps for the council to consider. Just by way of background, these are building and planning fees, and so in Garden Grove, you review construction, you review requests for construction and so forth, and you're doing it to ensure safe, orderly, aesthetically pleasing development within city limits, and you and other communities in the state use what we call user and regulatory fees as a mechanism to recover the cost of providing these services. So generally, we think about communities as using their tax revenues to provide services that provide broad community-wide benefit, and using things like user and regulatory fees when you have a direct receiver of benefit. I mentioned that we're dealing with building and planning fees here, so these are service-based fees, permit review, plan review, permit processing, and so forth. But it's also important to note what we're not examining. This study does not consider taxes, utility rates, assessments, the things that your community thinks about on a day-to-day basis are not as part of this study. These are discrete periodic requests for service. So just by way of fundamentals and terminology that apply to these types of studies, you may wonder, why do communities perform these types of studies? You do them periodically to ensure compliance with legal requirements. When you're performing cost of service studies and establishing fees, you want to ensure compliance with California Government Code and the California Constitution. This study is influenced by that legislation. When you recover the cost of providing fee-related services from the receiver of those services, you are by definition freeing up general fund resources to be used for some other purpose, typically a community-wide benefit purpose. And the final bullet is this idea that when we recover our costs of service, it helps us continue to meet the service level expectation of our community. I mentioned that we have some legal requirements. These fees are governed by California Constitution and California Government Code, and because they are fees, they are adopted by the City Council and adjusted from time to time by the City Council at the conclusion of a public hearing. Throughout my presentation, throughout the staff report, we reference these concepts of cost of service, cost recovery, subsidy. You may use these in your day-to-day world, and so we just want to make sure that we're speaking sort of the same language conceptually as it relates to these concepts. When we think about cost of service, these are service-based fees, so there's a human providing some sort of service. We identify hourly cost of that service, and then we think about how long does something typically take us. Something easy may be relatively quick, something complex may take many, many hours. When we know our cost of service and our estimated service time, we can identify our cost of service. Our cost of service represents our ceiling. We don't want to exceed our cost of service. Because these are fees, we don't want to recover more than our cost of service or turn this into some profit-making generation. It is to be cost recovery and not beyond that. Once a council understands what its costs of service are, it frequently uses sort of philosophical judgment in terms of how much of that cost should I recover. And a lot of times the way a council thinks through that is, do I see a clear receiver of benefit? And if I see a clear receiver of benefit, I may target higher levels of cost recovery versus if I see broad community-wide benefit, I may target lower levels of cost recovery and say, let's use our general fund tax dollars to service that broad community-wide benefit. In the cases of the fees that we're examining, most of the communities we work with would see a very clear direct benefit for these services, a high individual benefit. An example of this would be if I choose to remodel my kitchen or add square footage to my house, I am the one that benefits from the remodel. I receive the enhanced property values. I receive the enjoyment of my additional square footage and so forth. And so when the city recovers its costs of providing those services, it's helping to ensure that the other residents and businesses within city limits are not sort of covering the costs of my square footage addition and so forth. It is the council's prerogative. If you choose to recover less than the full cost of service, that's totally you are eligible to do that by your decision. We just like to show this chart to illustrate the concept that if a service costs $500 for the city to perform, and the city chooses to recover something less than that, the city still incurs a cost. We would just say it has partial cost recovery. Some of the recovery came from the receiver of service. The rest of the cost was paid from some other Garden Grove revenue source, and that's typically your general fund tax dollars. So that is conceptually common throughout California. Your neighbors follow the same rules, their neighbors follow the same rules. It's just fundamental to cost recovery and fee setting in California. Now we'll dive into what we see in Garden Grove. So in Garden Grove, when we think about building and planning fees, we can think about them in the aggregate, and we can say that we do see room for enhanced cost recovery. It's been some time since you significantly adjusted these fees and examined them. So it's not surprising that we see room for enhanced cost recovery. On the building side, we see about 80% cost recovery today. On the planning side, we see some lower levels of cost recovery, but it varies from fee to fee. Staff is recommending for the council, one of the options staff is recommending, and the primary option for your consideration, is a multi-year phase-in approach to enhance cost recovery and process fee adjustments. Because these fees are regulatory in nature, we do typically see higher cost recovery levels targeted, but staff is thinking in order to facilitate collaboration with the development community and avoid some initial year-to-year, like an initial adjustment that would be more significant than a multi-year phase-in. The multi-year phase-in is an approach recommended by staff. We also have provided the council with 3 options: a 3-year phase-in, a 2-year phase-in, and an immediate adjustment. And in addition to just recalibration of fees, staff has identified new fees for services that are already being provided without a commensurate fee, areas where fees could decrease, and so forth. So it was a thorough review that was completed and is for council consideration. The primary proposal for the council to consider is a 3-year phase-in adjustment. So the idea is, if the council adopted a fee schedule this evening, the initial adjustment would take effect July 1, 2025, so fiscal year 25-26, with a followed prescribed adjustment at 26-27, and then the 3rd year would be 27-28, and in subsequent years, fees would adjust by the change in regional cost inflation. If there was no change in regional cost inflation, there would be no change in fees unless you completed another study that supported that. The multi-year phase-in approach sort of takes your fees to full cost recovery, but it does it over a 3-year window. One of the things you may ask yourself as a council is, if we chose to move forward with this strategy with the proposed fees aligned to other agencies in the region, we completed a regional fee comparison, and what we do see is that you could adopt fees as presented and you would align well to the region. You have hundreds of fees because you're trying to contemplate the various scenarios that come through your door, so it's unreasonable to do an apples-to-apples comparison amongst all fees. Instead, we grab handfuls of fees and look for general patterns. The slides that follow show you some general patterns. There are a handful of fees. I won't walk in detail through everyone, but you're going to see charts that show like blue shading for Garden Grove, and then your neighbors, and you're going to see Garden Grove at the lower end of the spectrum, and then if fees are adopted, Garden Grove moving into the mid-range of the spectrum. Additionally, if the council chose, it could adopt a 2-year phase-in or an immediate adjustment. What these charts show is that any option you choose, you would still align to the region. So we have no preference to what option you choose as consultants. Any of them meet your legal requirements. So this is just a handful of areas moving from small scale projects to larger scale projects on the building side, and then looking at some planning examples that can be readily compared from agency to agency. And I mentioned the dark blue shading. Dark blue shading represents Garden Grove. The bottom dark blue shading is Garden Grove today. And then the upper 3 dark blue shadings are Garden Grove year 1, Garden Grove year 2, Garden Grove year 3. The lighter blues are regional fee comparison agencies. And what you're going to see sort of from slide to slide to slide is today Garden Grove is at the lower end of the regional fee spectrum. And if fees were adjusted, you'd move yourself into that mid-range of the regional fee spectrum. It sort of depends on the fee you examine, but you are, in every scenario we considered, you were within the realm of the region. So I'll just move quickly through these, and you're just going to see this general pattern. Garden Grove today, lower end. Garden Grove tomorrow, mid-range. Just moving into larger scale projects now, but seeing the same pattern. Larger scale projects, Garden Grove today, lower. Garden Grove tomorrow, mid-range. Moving over to the planning side of shop, seeing the same pattern showing itself for fees that can be readily compared from agency to agency. Garden Grove low end, Garden Grove moving itself to the mid-range over a multi-year period. So a final consideration for council frequently, in addition to the regional fee comparison, is trying to understand the fiscal impact of proposed changes. Our analysis indicates that there's about 1.7 million in under recovery today. This is limited to fee-related services. If you chose a multi-year phase-in approach, we would anticipate that you would end up recovering these costs over a 3-year window. So you can see that pattern of enhanced cost recovery. Staff has also presented you with a 2-year option. It results in the same enhanced cost recovery, just it speeds up the process. And then the third option is if the council chose to immediately adjust fees sort of effective July 1, 2025, but instead of a multi-year phase-in, doing it in one swoop. This concludes my presentation. It's now the opportunity for the council to complete the public hearing. If you have any feedback or questions for me, I'm happy to receive them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Questions for staff at this time before we open the public hearing? Just any clarifying questions before we open the public hearing? Okay. Seeing none, then we will open the public hearing. And I do have, this is an opportunity for the public if they'd like to speak on this item, item 15. I do have a card. Nick Dibbs.
Okay, let me just comment on the fees. On year 4, you have it go to a CPI, and the problem with that is every year it's just going to keep building and building. So you want to make sure that your fees don't exceed the city's cost. We do have, and I don't know if there's a distinction for ADUs versus other construction. But we have a housing shortage, so you want to also be fair to the people who are trying to build additional housing in the city. So you have to be fair on the fees, and if you're going to increase it, I would say go with the 3-year one. The only thing I don't like about the 3-year one is that then when you get to year 4 and 5 and so on, it's automatically going up. Whereas I would suggest that instead of the automatic CPI, that you relook at it each year as far as what the costs are versus what you need, so that it's just not perpetuating itself and becoming bigger, 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 because the percentages of a percentage get bigger, bigger as you go. So that's one item. The next item I want to mention is, well, that's the other thing. And then commercial versus residential. So I assume that these fees, the fees are what they are for either category. But if you're a big commercial project, is it the same percentage increase as it would be for a residential? So you want to look at equity and fairness as far as the city so far has been fair because the fees are lower than what the cost is. At the same time, you want to encourage people to build the additional housing, ADUs, AJADUs, and so on. So you don't want the fees to go up too high because then it becomes cost prohibitive. So It's a balancing act. My main suggestion is that after the third year, you not just automatically allow the CPI to kick in, that you take a look at it at that time and see if the CPI is the best way to keep adjusting it, or is it better to look at it at that time, at the end of the third year, and see whether it's the CPI that should govern, because the CPI encompasses a whole lot of stuff. And so instead of just perpetuating itself as the CPI into year 4, 5, and 6, and so on, I think that the council should just approve the 3-year phase-in, and then at the end of the third year, look at it again. And so that's about it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. I don't have any other pink cards on public hearing item 15. Is there anyone from the public that would wish to speak? Then we will go ahead and close the public hearing. Council members, any further discussion?
Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's about time we did look to reestablish these fees. I just want to make it really clear, this is particular to building and planning and these type of fees. They're not your, community wants to go out and rent the shade in the park type of thing. We're not talking about that. This is the fees assessed to developers, builders, when they're trying to build something in our city. And right now, we are giving them everything without the proper fees. I mean, it's basically welfare for builders. I have a lot of heartburn with the 3-year plan, only because I know that the cost of living is going to go up. The cost of everything is going to continue to rise. And by the time we get there in 3 years, we're still not going to get to the point where we're recouping our losses. So I think the best thing is just to bite the bullet, do it all at once, and make them pay the fair amount. Even if we do that, we're still way under what most other cities in the county are paying for these services. So I do get a little heartburn. I don't want to punish developers or builders in any stretch, and I think our speaker spoke to that. There's a fine line that you don't want to discourage people, but we're not discouraging them. We're just asking them to pay their fair share. And I just don't see the benefit of stretching it out over 2 years or 3 years, because we're still having to take it out of our general fund to subsidize them. So I think my thoughts is I would favor just biting the bullet, rip the Band-Aid off all at once, and just do it. That's my thoughts.
Thank you, George. I'd like to follow up on that a little bit, because this is an important issue. We should at least raise some public awareness for why these fees are necessary. And I want to echo George, because I'm in the building and trades, and I'm a developer. So I will feel the difference. But we've been afforded a discounted price for a long time, at least 10 years. And we need to get caught up, because the community development department or economic development department needs to beef up their department a little better. We are understaffed. We've been understaffed for a long time. We need to bring in more people to provide the in-house plan check. We've been subcontracting out, which doesn't always get the best results, and we know that. But we don't have the budget for it. So we're way behind. I agree with George. We should collect it as fast as possible. Maybe not 3 years, maybe not 1 year. I'd offer 2 years. Let's make it a 2-year program. That's just my suggestion. We'll go into budget retreat soon. We'll talk more about it, but I want to give staff the power to work out what they think is best for them and put this resource under their control. I promise to build up these fundings, so we although it goes to the general funds, I want it earmarked for the planning and building departments under economic and community development, so they can control the funds, and because they're the one that providing the direct services, it's not just developers like me, it's homeowners. A lot of homeowner builder are pulling permits for building and all sorts of permits, and we have to collect a little bit more just to get caught up. And I agree, we are below the fee rates of a lot of different cities. And we've been well advised by our consultant to phase in the changes, so it's not a shock to the developers, but that we'll be able to collect the fees and utilize it to upgrade our department a little better. So thank you to Nikki and Ursula also, who's been working very hard on these programs, and our consultants.
Councilmember.
Yeah, I want to follow along with what Councilmember Brightigam has mentioned. Is it's about paying the fair share, right? So I want to commend you, Nikki, and your team, Terry, for putting together this wonderful presentation, and our staff and council for having the initiative to conduct this study and address what is actually a very important issue, because when it comes to paying the fair share, and it comes to what is happening is that our residents have been subsidizing the operational costs with regards to some of these fees, right? And it's all coming out of our general fund. And I think it's important for folks listening to understand what the general fund is and what goes into the general fund, so they know why we keep talking about it. Like, what is the general fund, right? So that's all of our sales tax, our property tax, our hotel tax. So that's all the money that we get as a city to be able to spend on the various programs and departments, right? So it's our taxpayer dollars that end up subsidizing development, and our residents should be able to, feel like their taxes are going back to the programs and the services that are going to be directly supporting them. So thank you for conducting the study and giving us all of these breakdowns. And then I do believe that regardless of which path we decide to take, whether it's the 3-year, 2-year, 1 year, with all of these paths, it is anticipated that we'll eventually get to a 100%. So, as to how bullish we want to be and how aggressive we want to be and how quickly we want the return, I think it's important to note that the 100% return is projected regardless of whatever path we take.
One quick qualifier on that, and you're 100% right, the 100% return, but that's as of today's 100% return. If we do a 3-year plan, the fees are going to go up in those 3 years, and we're going to be capturing today's money. See what I'm saying? If we do a 3-year assessment or slow roll this thing, so to speak, we never get to the 100% of today. So that's, just want to clarify that part of it.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask you, so when you do the projection, with that 3 year with the money now, or you have that in the calculation, 3 year?
It would be, as George had said it, it would be 3 years using the current fees of other cities in those tables.
Thank you for that clarification. So I actually agree with Councilmember Short, and I think Joe and Ariana already talked about that. We had this review ahead, and during the review, I did ask the same question in terms of why we wait for 3 years. And this is, if we take, this is the money that they have to pay for the thing that the developer use. So with having that money, we would be able to use some other thing that, for the city. And so I just want to express my opinion on this. Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments? Otherwise, I will.
I'll make a motion if you don't have a comment.
So yeah, we have obviously a staff recommendation, but if you have another motion, let's make sure we
I want to
clarify.
adopt staff recommendation that we immediately amend the planning building fees immediately and not over any prolonged period of time. I think that was option 3, if I'm not mistaken.
I was going to say that was one of the alternate.
Yeah.
Yes. Fair. So I have a motion. I need a second.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Call to vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, we will move on to item 16. This is also a public hearing. This is approval of an amendment to increase the annual contract amount with West Coast Arborist, Inc. by $350,000 and adoption of a resolution establishing a new city tree removal fee. And we have a staff presentation.
Madam Mayor and members of City Council, tonight City Council is being asked to approve amendment number 4 to increase the contract with the West Coast Arborist by $350,000 for tree trimming, crew rental, and tree removal services. And also, City Council is being asked to adopt a resolution establishing a new city tree removal fee for cost recovery. The tree and flood control maintenance section in the Public Works Department is responsible for maintaining approximately 16,000 city trees in the public right-of-way, and also responsible for maintaining all city-owned flood control channels. In respect to tree maintenance, the section is responsible for trimming, pruning, removing, and planting new trees, including responding to urgent requests for services during wind and rainstorms and other situations. The section is also responsible for administering resident applications for street tree removals per Chapter 11.32.060 of Municipal Code, which requires this work to be performed by contract under city specifications and be administered by the city. The section faces ongoing operational challenges due to a continuous shortage of staff caused by temporary vacancies. Currently, the section is operating without 3 full-time maintenance workers and 1 part-time public works trainee. This is about 1/3 of its total staffing. The city contracts with the West Coast Arborist to periodically trim all 16,000 city trees and provide additional services as needed. As a procurement option, the city is currently piggybacking on the City of Rancho Cucamonga's multi-year contract with the West Coast Arborist. Additionally, West Coast Arborist offers crew rental services to ensure uninterrupted operations for the section. These supplemental contract services are utilized only on an as-needed basis. Public Works is also requesting for the adoption of a new city tree removal fee consistent with the Chapter 11.32.060 of the Municipal Code for resident petitions. The fee would be set at the amount charged by the vendor, West Coast Arborist, under their fee schedule for tree and stump removal, which is based on the size of the tree being removed, and will be used to offset some of the contractual costs for tree removals as requested by residents and authorized by Public Works. It is estimated that the adoption of the new fee will generate an additional $50,000 per year in tree removal revenue. Combined with the projected salary savings from the temporary vacancies, no additional appropriation is required to approve the $350,000 increase in the West Coast Arborist contractor services. It is recommended that the City Council approve amendment number 4, increasing the annual contract amount with the West Coast Arborist by $350,000 for the current fiscal year and for all remaining contract option years, contingent upon Rancho Cucamonga's approved contract extensions. Conduct a public hearing to establish a new city tree removal fee and adopt the resolution establishing a new city tree removal fee consistent with the Chapter 11.32.060 of the Municipal Code. This concludes the staff report, and staff is here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Colleagues, any questions of staff?
No, I do, well, yes. First of all, I want to say thank you guys. I sat down with you over the last few months and we rewrote the city ordinance for the trees, and you don't realize how hard Sam and his folks are working over there. They're doing good things. So we look forward to helping you in that goal by properly funding you. So basically, for the tree removal application, in a petition, we're not asking for more than what it's gonna cost. We're asking for cost recovery, basically, to remove that tree.
Yes, sir.
So
There's
if a member
nothing
of the
more than
public-
cost, yeah.
Yeah, so if a member of the public says, hey, this tree, you know, it's dangerous, it's leaning over my house, I want it out of here, we give them the option of paying for the cost to have it removed. But we also request that they would replace the tree with a city-approved tree, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, anyway, that, I just want to make that very clear. We're not asking for more money. We're just basically, like the last item, we're cost recovery. Just how much is it going to cost for the vendor to come out and cut it out?
That is correct, sir.
Well, for the record, we're actually charging less than what it costs the city because we're not charging for our staff time to accept the applications and you know, and process the application. So
Okay.
it doesn't include staff time. This is straight
Vendor
the
time.
cost of the contractor to remove the tree and do the stumps.
Okay, and maybe that's something we'll look to resolve in the future there. So, anyway, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes. I just want to clarify that we can go to get the fee recovery even though it's hazardous.
No, sir. If there's any situations where our tree creates any hazardous conditions or it damages property around it, then we'll take it off for free.
Thank you.
I use that as a bad example. Use it different.
I just want to clear that.
If there's no other questions, I'll go ahead and open, oh, yes.
I kind of have a question, but it's more of a feedback too. We're going from 440 to 770, which is a pretty large jump. It's almost double. And I'm looking at the exhibit that's included here, the work summary, WCA. Most of the cost is for grid prune. So I don't see us having a big jump for the grid prune. There may be some cost associated with the change in the ordinance about tree removal, but that's recovered through the fees we're going to raise or the fee schedule. So why this big jump? That's the question, and I'm going to vote it down. They're going to come back with a lesser proposal, less, and I'll consider it. And the rest of the council can pass it if they want, but I'm not going to pass this one up. I don't think it's justified. And also, I want to look at a competitive bid with other vendors for the same arborist service. I'm sure there are others that can provide the same service, and I want a competitive bid next time. I don't want double in fees. I'm going to vote it down.
Well, actually, I have a similar question, and I actually got the answer from our staff. So the question was like, why is it the big number? And the answer I got from the staff was that they actually, this is just up to that amount, and they only charge us on the work that they being done. So it's not like we're gonna give them that amount, but it's just this is for our staff to, right? Am I correct?
Yes, it is
Okay.
correct. Yeah, as needed basis, and if we have staff shortages, and we'll use them to get our maintenance done.
Yeah, thank you. So you answered my question. Thanks.
That's the threshold. That's the highest amount that could be used, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to use that amount. You could use half of that.
That is correct, sir.
It's just, that's the maximum
Yeah.
that you can use.
cap.
With,
And
yeah,
then
that's your
Yeah.
cap,
Yes.
basically. And so I just want to make sure that's clear for Councilmember Dovin.
Any other questions?
I actually, yeah. So it says currently the section is operating without 3 full-time maintenance workers and one part-time public workers trainee. So what is the status on those positions now?
There are actually, those positions are still holding by the incumbents because they're out on medical leaves, workers' comp cases, and separate medical conditions.
Oh.
If I don't have any other questions, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. I do have a pink card, Nicholas Dibbs.
I would encourage the city to fill those 3 positions when you can. I know you maybe can't right now, but I hope you'll do that when you can. Assuming that this is dealing with parkway trees. And so the parkway is owned by the city. So that always gets down to a thing of, is it the homeowner's tree or is it the city's tree? So I think you folks need to clarify that as far as who's responsible for these trees. Is it the city or is it the homeowner? That's one question. But we're talking about removal of trees, and I want to talk about adding trees. We need more trees, and I want to thank the city. Craig Durfee, who lives in District 2, his brother passed away, Stephen Lawrence Durfee. And so in honor of Stephen Lawrence Durfee, a pink trumpet tree was dedicated by Craig Durfee, and the tree was planted on the parkway in front of the GGUSD headquarters, Education Center. And he couldn't be there, so I'm the one who filmed it. I want to thank Eric and the crew. You have a wonderful crew of people who are putting these trees in, so thank you very much. And Stephen Durfee was born in 1950.
Nick, this doesn't relate to the item.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
right.
That
Well,
should have
anyway.
been through oral communication. We need to stick to the item at hand under
Okay,
public
so
hearing.
anyway, with regard to the fees, I think you also need to consider the fees for tree installations. So this is on tree removals, but we need to encourage more tree installations. Now, in the tree removal, they're supposed to replace the tree with another tree. So if you go from a big tree down to a little tree, then that decreases the canopy. So it's a toss-up between who's going to decide whether to remove it or can you just prune it? Because if you can prune a tree and keep the big tree or prune it down as opposed to just removing it. So who's going to decide that? Is it the city or the homeowner? If it's on the parkway and the parkway is owned by the city, can the city make a choice and say, you know, it's more cost effective to prune this tree and keep it rather than tear it out and then we lose a big canopy and we go down to a little dinky tree. So I think we need more trees in Garden Grove and put the garden back in Garden Grove. So we need more trees, not less. So the decision-making process for removal of trees, I'm throwing it out there because I don't know. And that's why I'm asking the question, who decides? And if the city wants to keep that tree and the homeowner wants it removed, can the city say, well, we'll prune it, and that way it doesn't have to be removed? So that's just some comments there for your consideration. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. I don't have any other pink cards for this public hearing item, so I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And colleagues, any further discussion on this item? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 6 yes votes, with Councilmember Dovin voting no. Motion carries.
All right, we will move on to items for consideration. Number 17, approval of a contract with Wildan Engineering for on-call animal control officer services.
Madam Mayor and members of City Council, tonight City Council is being asked to approve a multi-year contract with the Wildan Engineering for on-call animal control officer services for not to exceed amount of $245,000 for fiscal year. The Animal Control Services section is responsible for 24/7 field operations, which include regular daytime shifts and on-call after-hour night shifts. To ensure consistent, high-quality services around the clock, particularly during nighttime shifts, it is necessary to utilize Wildan for supplementary on-call animal control officer services. Additionally, retaining Wildan for on-call support enable the city to maintain operations when animal control officers are unexpectedly on leaves, especially for extended period, such as medical leave. The city sent out a request proposal to 4 different firms in December 2024 for on-call animal control services. Wildan was the only company to submit a proposal. To determine the annual contract amount, staff considered 2 key factors. 1, The cost required to replace a full-time animal control officer in the event of unexpected staffing shortages due to unforeseen circumstances, such as turnover or prolonged medical leave. This cost is estimated at approximately $175,000, and the services are utilized only on an as-needed basis. 2, the cost necessary to meet the scheduling demands of 24/7 field operations, particularly for weekend and on-call night shifts. This portion of the service is estimated at approximately $70,000, making it total to $245,000. No additional appropriation is needed to approve the $245,000 contract with the Wilden Engineering. The $175,000 allocated for as-needed on-call services expected to be covered by potential departmental budget savings resulting from staffing shortages. The remaining $70,000 required to maintain the 24/7 field operation schedule will be funded through the existing Animal Control Services operating budget. It is recommended that the City Council approve the contract with the Wilden Engineering for on-call animal control officer services in the amount of not to exceed $245,000 per year. Authorize the city manager to execute the contract with the Wilden Engineering for on-call animal control officer services and make a minor modification as appropriate thereto on behalf of the city, and authorize the city manager to execute option year amendments and make a minor modification as appropriate thereto on behalf of the city. This concludes the staff report, and staff is here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Colleagues, any questions?
I'll take one. Honestly, in reviewing this item, it was a big eye-opener for me because I had no idea Wildan offered animal control services. You know, I'm used to them being like engineering and street kind of stuff, and I'm going, Wildan for animal control? What, you know?
We couldn't find anyone else.
Yeah, well, hey, if they do, they do. That's great. Honestly, it's kind of needed in a big way. You know, we have a limited amount of animal control officers in the city of Garden Grove, and trying to get 24/7 coverage for these services are sometimes difficult because, you know, people want to be home with their families. They need days off. They, you know, you can't just work the same guy 24 hours every day and try to, you know, so I think the biggest issue for me is every 4th of July. That's when my phone blows up, social media blows up, you know, because the animals get spooked from the fireworks and they jump fences and they're running all over. And traditionally, it's at night, animal control is closed, and, you know, there's a lot of, for the 4th of July, that's a big deal. And I'm sure New Year's is probably very similar, but not as bad as 4th of July. That really goes. So I'm glad to see we're addressing this issue. It is a constant complaint from the community. We did have last 4th of July, a German Shepherd escaped from his backyard and ran out into the street and got hit. And it took a long time before we can get any. So, yeah, this needs to happen. So with that being said, I'm happy to make the motion.
I'll vote this one up, and I'll tell you why. Per the agreement, term and termination, the terms will be from March 1st, 25 to June 30th, 25. So we have a trial period with an option to extend said agreement an additional 4 fiscal years. So it's year by year, and we have that option. Option years shall be exercised 1 fiscal year at a time. At the sole option of the city, this agreement may be terminated by the city without cause. I want the public to know that. The city will review it on a year-to-year basis, and we can extend it. This year, we accept this proposal because we have no other bidders. It's nice enough that Wildan stepped up to it, and I think they'll do a good job. So in such an event, where we terminate the agreement, the city will compensate consultant, Wildan, for work performed to date in accordance with proposal, which is attached here, Exhibit A, and is hereby incorporated by reference. Contractors required to present evidence to support performed work. So we'll get a report of all the work performed, So we'll see if the funding is justified, and I'm sure it will be. And I know we have a lot of needs. I don't think any one of us want to go be out there herding cats and trying to put them in pens and all that. So I have no envy of Will Don, and I wish him the best in performing. And hopefully we renew it year to year, and we'll have a chance to look at it again. And I'd like to see what the report looks like.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely support this. I think it's probably a relief to our animal care officers. It's a thankless job, and it's a hard job, and they work long hours. And so anything we can do to kind of shoulder some of that burden for them is needed. And I think obviously as a council, by supporting something like this, it shows that we take the care of our animals seriously in Garden Grove. So I know I have a motion. Was that a second? All right, call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, and we are now on to matters. I'm going to start again with D6.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm going to try to make this brief. But first, I want to thank staff because I made a little complaint about an ever-growing pothole that was at the intersection of Trask and Harbor, and it has already been addressed. I did not have the shock of my life as I was making a right-hand turn. So thank you guys so much for addressing that expeditiously. Next up, I would like to commend DOIG Action Committee. DOIG Intermediates has a civic engagement club that had a speech night, and I was there with Mayor Klopfenstein, and we got the opportunity to listen to students give speeches about various topics of their choosing, and I was just so impressed by the breadth of topics that they had selected and how well informed they were, and also the amazing call to action that they had in all of their speeches. I think that they did an amazing job, so I want to commend the students and all of the and their teacher for coming together, and the parents for being so supportive of them. It was a really great evening. I also want to give a shout out to all of the wonderful organizers and volunteers that participated in the Flower Street project, the Flower Street event on Historic Main Street this weekend, which really kicked off the New Year activities. I was really heartened to see so many members of the community, and especially so many young kids, so many volunteers from the local VSA clubs helping out. They put together these wonderful displays, and I got an opportunity to volunteer with them a few days, and I had so much fun. I'm so excited for this event in years to come. It keeps growing. It was so amazing. So congratulations to all of the organizers and all the volunteers. They did a great job. Even in the rain on Sunday, they still held it together. They did amazing, and I'm so excited for all of the other programming that we have coming up in relation to New Year. I'm so excited for TED Festival this weekend. Okay, and that's all.
Hello, everyone. I just want to kind of give an update. I recently attended the Boys and Girls Club ribbon cutting with the Councilwoman Tran for the opening of their new infant daycare. I want to give kudos to the organization for always finding ways to supporting our child, our families and their daycare needs. It was my first speech. So it was an honor because I've actually been part of the Boys and Girls Club for many years. I've worked over 10 years with Boys and Girls Club in various of our school sites. So it's always great to see how our program, the Boys and Girls Club program, has benefited our community for so many years. And it was an honor to be there and to speak there and to see everybody come together to bring such an outstanding project. I've been very busy the past few days with my colleagues and the city manager meeting local businesses, and I've also had the opportunity of touring the construction site for the new police department. There's a lot of new projects going on in District 5, and I am making sure that I'm keeping myself up to date with all of what's happening to ensure that our residents have the best benefits of these projects. Like mentioned, I was also able to tour the police station, and I was aware of the situation. It's expanding, and I feel I'm very grateful that they're going to be having this new facility. And I want to recognize, the staff for the project, everything that is happening out there, the gratitude of the project, and everything's just coming together. So I'm very proud of that. On Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I was partnered with the OC Parks with the leadership of the OCAPA to come together to clean up our park at the Hastur Basin Park in District 5. We worked diligently to make our park a cleaner space for all to enjoy on such a holiday that highlights the importance of community. I want to thank Supervisor Sarmiento's office for connecting me with the Parks Department, and I also want to thank the over a dozen volunteers who helped beautify our community. This will be a yearly tradition that I will continue to host, and while I'm in office, and I plan to work with city staff to help choose the next park that we would be cleaning. Also, to remain on the topic of parks, I recently went to Pioneer Park with my family, and I noticed that the sign that reads Pioneer Park that faces the street needs improvement or replacement. So the Orange County carpenters have reached out to my office to express their excitement. They want to work on a project in District 5. So they have worked on similar projects in other cities, and unfortunately already have a relationship with our city. I would like to ask the staff to look into the project. I know there's a lot of work that would go into projects such as permits, plans, and also discussing with Garden Grove Unified School District once there is a bit of more detail amongst other things as well. Speaking about Garden Grove Unified School District, I'm glad that we recognize their hard work and all that they do for Garden Grove community tonight. Their accomplishments and test scores are what helps property values go up and what makes people want to stay in and move to Garden Grove. I've had the privilege of working with their leadership and students for many years in my capacity as a student. Go Cavaliers! As a wife of the board member of education, and also as a proud member of the PTA. I know Dr. Mafi and the Board of Education have a great vision for our district, and I look forward to seeing the great things that they will continue to do. Lastly, I want to wish our community a happy Lunar New Year. Chakmang Namoy. May you have many blessings this year and accomplish all you desire. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, colleagues. Yes, it's Happy New Year to everyone. Everyone's birthday. Chúc mừng năm mới. As Councilwoman Munyaton very rightly and congratulate everybody. A Happy New Year. I just want to wrap up a couple of things. First, the tree trimming, the tree services, very much needed. Hopefully, it'll work out where the citizens who require that service beyond the parkway and so on will have to pay for some of it. That's just fair and reasonable. They will report back to us, just like the animal care services, on a performance basis, and we'll get to review that contract. But I want the arborists to know that we are sensitive to other cities that are having fires. So tree trimming is part of that prevention process. So keep in mind that when you're out there trimming the trees and removing the trees and the stump and so on, that we preserve the beauty of the city and replant it. I'm all for planting new trees. and also to maintain it properly so that we don't have fires in our city that can spread, and some of it is because of our trees. So be aware of that. I want to speak a little bit to the water feature that George mentioned, because I'm all for water feature. We discussed it with the consultants to design something, maybe a fountain feature where the signage will be, is to make it iconic and put us on the map again, because we will be a tourist attraction once everything gets built out, and maybe as early as this time next year we can be celebrating in our new park. So we look forward to that. But I'm all for the water feature too. So I miss the wildlife a little bit. If anybody remember those geese and ducks and even chickens and turtles and all that. So I'm for the water feature, but keep in mind that there's a maintenance cost to it that are borne out by the city general funds, and on an ongoing basis, you might think twice about putting in too much water feature. So that's just kind of the balance of it. Lastly, we had a speaker talk about our new president coming in with a new immigration policy and so on. I don't want to wade into that too much, but I believe that we are a city that welcomes everybody, but we should not harbor criminal elements. I only wish that there wasn't any, and if there is, that they would be removed expeditiously. So only the criminal elements, I mean known criminals with convictions, who commit crimes here. They're human traffickers, they're drug traffickers, they're people who have committed violent crimes, and we know who they are. They do not belong in our community. I'm all for protecting our community. However, if they're law-abiding, and they've come here as economic refugees, which many of them are, I'm a refugee. We are a refugee community, an immigrant community. We're the last one to chase people away. So I don't want that over-aggressive, vindictive, very, very strong-handed with our immigrants, legal or illegal. As long as they're not the criminal elements, you give them a second chance. But if they are, remove them. That's all I have to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So I have a couple items. I'm going to try to be quick. First, I want to say thank to our city manager, Lisa, the assistant manager, Matt, and Son, for your awesome support. As every time we do the agenda review, I normally review the data probably most 90% of the time, and I always have questions. And what makes me so impressed that every time I ask question, doesn't matter how detailed it is, but they would be able to give back to me within a couple hours. Sometimes I got surprised because I thought that would be the next day. But the same with yesterday too. I asked many questions for almost every single item, and they were able to answer right at that moment or within a couple hours. So one thing that I want to share with our residents is that our residents reached out to us for a different question. And one of the things they were asking about the bus pass. We know that for any student 18 or younger, you get the free bus pass. But what about older? So that was the question. And Matt were able to get the information that if you are 60 and above or disability, you would be able to get some kind of discount, like only $1.50 or something like that for the whole day trip or something like that. But I just want to say that thank you for your hard work. Many times that anytime I asked, you guys were able to come back so quick that I just got impressed every single time. So that first. Second, we talk about the pothole. And so I have observed many times for our public work, doing the hard work during summertime, late hour, etc. So during Christmas or Thanksgiving time, I normally come visit the department and bring some little thing to share with them. So I did this time for the public work. I went and visited the Garden Grove Municipal Service Center. Just want to say thank to Director Bill Murray for and his all the employees there for their hard work. Did you know that they actually maintain and oversee more than 600 vehicles, and they have to constantly working on it? So when with the new council member, if you have time, come and visit and get a tour. Next item. So for the Flower Street Festival, thanks to all the organization, but also the volunteer, that were amazing, right? Every year it get better, and we heard that from our council member here too. So at that event, I saw a couple elected officials, the Congressman Derek Tran and Assembly Chita. And you know that I've been talking about the park, right? Anytime I see somebody that up there, I'm gonna remind them again and again about the park, that we need some kind of funding. So relate to that. Last week, that was the first time, last week, the first time I attend the OCOG meeting. And during that meeting, they mentioned about the budget for the outdoor access and 286 million, and statewide park for 190 million budgets that they requesting. And so I'm gonna bring, give the information back to our staff. They're talking about the Olympic is coming, so they want to get the budgets and do, beautify our park and our cities, so that way when the Olympic come, that will be important for us to have a nice park. So that is something that I'm gonna continue asking again and again until we get something. Next item, last but not least, thanks to Supervisor Janet Nguyen, I was one of elected official member that was selected this morning. We went to the Orange County Supervisor Chamber, and they give the proclamation for the Lunar New Year. So I was just one of many elected officials. But when I was there, it gave me a very warm feeling that not just our city, of course, our staff here, but also higher up, they embrace the culture, and you feel like you're at home. It makes you feel warm in your heart. So that was nice to experience that. And last but not least, the UVSA Festival coming up this weekend. And I know that all our council here probably gonna be there and volunteer and check out. So this is the first time that they came back to our city after 11 years. Everybody's super excited because normally we have the other one at the Mount Square Park. This time they don't have it. And also in the past, it's all the way to OC Fair. So many residents here, students, and everybody looking forward to this event. So I just want to make sure that you get the same information. The event gonna be on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday 4 to 10, Saturday 11 to 10, and Sunday 11 to 9. If you go on Saturday between 12 and 1, you could get in for free if you wear the traditional outfit like what we're wearing right now. So looking forward to see many of you there, and we're gonna have fun. A lot of game, and you will get the red envelope for lucky money too. That's it for me. Thank you.
Forgot about that all the time. Nobody hear me. Anyway, first of all, I too would like to thanks City Manager Lisa and Matt and Son. Been doing a great job at FAST with me. Especially very impressive on all the pothole that I do small thing first. So all the pothole that I take picture and send in, and impressive sent into city manager, and impressively got repaired so quick and so beautiful. I did inspect it, and so I know. Second, I want to talk a little bit about the immigration. Yeah, I too watch about that a lot because we are, as Mayor Pro Tem said, we are all immigrant. And but I do support that all the criminals should be deported. Yeah, and all the people that work and pay tax and, properly prosperity person, we should give them a chance. The third one I like to bring it up is about the Flower Main Street. Even my first year, that was impressive. I really think they did a very good job, cooperate with our city, Garden Grove City, of course. And I'm one of their supporters, anyway. And number 4, I did attend the Library Advisory Board, and I learned a lot about, I didn't know that we have so much about library, and I think we can do a lot for the kid about the library, and also for the grown-up too. I would vote, even first year, fresh new, I will vote to become executive committee. So I'm one of the 8 vote for Orange County Library Public. Number 5 issue that is very important to me is right in my D2. Last but not least is about the homelessness. Yeah. I'm very concerned about our resident security and safety. And I'm pretty sure that our police department did a very great job. I drove there. I drove there a couple times. I tried to study a little bit about it. I want to work with the resident to make sure that we can do something. And for that, I will work closely with mayor and other council colleagues of mine about that issue. I'm pretty sure that's a general issue for everywhere. So I will need mayor and our council college back me up on that. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm too much in issue. I forget that. Happy New Year, everybody. I wish all of us and our residents have a good year of prosperity, healthy, what else? Everything. Anything you wish, succeed. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to basically echo Councilman Phillip and Councilman Joe's sentiments on the immigration thing. I think a lot of people don't realize when they come to city council meetings, there's 2 different types of cities. There's general law cities and there's charter cities. And Garden Grove is a general law city. We're literally one of the biggest general law cities in California, if not America. The difference, even if we disagreed with what the state is doing or federal or whatever, we don't have standing to even oppose that. We could all be unanimous in our decision, and we're still a general law city. So we don't have that power. So when folks come here, we need you to take a stand and this and that. Well, okay, I mean, we can, but it really doesn't matter because we can't change it from our council dais as a general law city. So, but with that being said, I want to echo Joe and Philip's sentiments. Criminals that are here doing nefarious things, they definitely need to go. But we are a city of immigrants, and we keep that in mind, and we don't want any negative things impacting folks that maybe aren't nefarious and aren't doing things. So, with that being said, I am currently working towards driving down Euclid. And I look in the center median, and the sign that holds all the service club emblems, those big, you know, the elks and the moose and I look at it, and those things are so, I mean, that thing it's got to be pushing 60 years old, right? It's all flaked and rusted and looks really bad. It's right there at the center median. So I reached out to Public Works, and I go, look, I get it. The city doesn't maintain those signs. Those are provided by the individual service clubs. The city simply just goes up and puts their little emblems on the thing. So I want everybody to know, I'm actually reaching out, I'm writing a letter to all the service clubs requesting they provide us a new emblem so we can make that look nice again. And we'll probably have some discussions on, is that the best location, or should we have 2 locations, or that kind of thing. But with that being said, I just want to let you know so you're not surprised if you hear anything with that going down. So hopefully within the next month, we'll have that refreshed and looking good as new again. Lunar New Year, as everybody has talked about, love it. February 1st is the Tet Parade down in Little Saigon. Every year, it's a really fun event. I encourage everyone to go. It really is. It's one of the, if not the largest, it's one of the largest Tet parades in the country. So it's kind of neat. There's all kinds of good food, fun. You'll see a lot of folks there and a lot of activities and whatnot. So just come on out. It's free. Bring the little kiddos and have a good time. February 8th, the one that's kind of special to me, West Garden Grove Youth Baseball Parade. And I'm hoping everyone here will be there for that. It's kind of an organic thing that developed in the community naturally. And, every year for opening day for the baseball, they also incorporate the girls softball and leagues and the scouts and all the other youth groups. So it's kind of cool. And it's a very short parade, but the kiddos love it. So they like to see the council members there and the mayor. So yeah. And then February 26th, February 22nd, we're going to be hosting the first, and I think we're going to end up doing this in every district, but West Garden Grove Neighborhood Walk. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to walk the neighborhood, and guess who's going to be there? I'll be there, and our city manager will be there, and every one of our department directors are going to be there, and we're going to walk probably a good little lap of maybe a mile or two. I'll have a couple pit stops along the way, so anyone in the community who wants to come out and maybe they can't walk the whole amount, they can just meet us at one of the pit stops at a certain time. We'll have that staging published on the city website. I'll put it on my social media. And if anybody in the community has questions of city staff or me, you can smack me upside the head and call me a knucklehead, whatever. I'm good with it. But I want to hear, now's your time. I mean, you're going to have staff there. You'll have me there. If you've got something you want to say, now's the time. Bring it out and let us know. So we can't fix it if we don't know about it, right? If we don't hear about it, we don't know. So, we want open, transparent communication. And, we don't have crystal balls. So if you don't tell us, we don't know. So we're hoping to get as many folks out there as possible for that walk. And I will be putting out more particulars in the near future on either my social media and also the city's website. And with that being said, there was one other item, but I forgot what it was. So, oh well. Happy Lunar New Year, everybody.
Thank you. I'm sure I'll be having 6 of those walks, it sounds like, for me.
You're going to get your steps in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good thing. I need them. Thank you all very much for dressing in Ao Yai here this evening to celebrate the Lunar New Year, Year of the Snake. I appreciate it so much. I don't know that we've ever been up here, all of us, dressed like this at a council meeting, so I appreciate it greatly. That's all right. It's all right.
I want to culturally appropriate.
I want to make mention, one thing that wasn't mentioned is we have the Disneyland Half Marathon coming up on February 2nd. I know our city manager, Lisa Kim, and council member Cindy Tran are bravely running this half marathon. But I wanted to also, just for the community's sake, I'm sure you've seen some of the signage that's up. This event, again, is February 2nd. It's a half marathon, and it encompasses quite a few streets throughout Garden Grove. So there will be temporary road closures between the hours of 2 a.m. and 11 a.m. p.m. Street signs have been posted along the route to notify residents in these particular areas. You can visit our city website if you'd like more information, if you think maybe you're on one of the affected streets. Residents with road closures can contact the event organizer. I have a phone number here. It is 909-964-8728. So 909-964-8728. If you have direct questions or concerns about those road closures. And obviously the Garden Grove Police Department's traffic unit will be on site during all of those closures to direct traffic and suggest alternate routes. And good luck to all of the event participants. It's great to have Garden Grove involved in the Disney Half Marathon. City Manager, I believe we have some other reports for this evening.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Happy Lunar New Year as well. Chukman Namoy. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If I may, I've asked Chief Covey to just share some insights and some just lessons learned about the LA fires and how OCFA has prepared accordingly. So he does have just a few moments just to share some information with the council, and if that's all right with everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, City Manager Kim. Mayor, Council, just real quick update. We called this the 2025 January Winds event. This wasn't just a LA thing, although the significant damage in LA. It was an event that encompassed all of Southern California, and we weren't immune from it. One of our canyons up off the 241 had 94-mile-an-hour winds during this wind event. It's a Category 2 hurricane. So Chief Fennessy, when he joined us about 7 years ago, one of the things he's always said is that the greatest threat to mass property and life loss in Orange County is wildfire. You know, we got our tornadoes up in some areas of the state. You know, always the earthquake that may or may not ever happen that we need to be prepared for. But we have fire every year. And I always get asked, what do you think what this year is going to be like? And my answer is the same every time. Is it going to be the wind or the rain that comes first? And if the wind happens and we have a start, God help us. And you have a start in the right place, then you have events that occurred like in LA. We're not immune to it. Laguna Beach burned down in 1994. We lost 440 homes there. Right, so there's plenty of areas in this county that we are susceptible and vulnerable to conditions like this. But let me reassure your residents in Garden Grove, you are not in that set of circumstances. It takes a combination of wind, fuel, weather, and topography to create a fire environment that will eventually destroy a community. You think about Paradise up in Northern California, the Napa, even far back as the Oakland Hills fires. It takes very specific topography and fuel conditions driven by weather that we don't have in Garden Grove. Okay, so try to calm your residents down a little bit, but we're prepared. Let me just show you a real quick video here of what our firefighters are facing up there supporting the fires in this was in Palisades. Our firefighters pulled about a 48 to 70 hour shift straight, pretty much fighting fire the entire time, taking breaks when they could. But obviously it was an all hands on deck everywhere up there. We supported with about 275 firefighters, LA. We have to balance, right? We're having these conditions here. We could have a fire here that starts the same way, or burns the same way. So we went into emergency staffing conditions, which was pretty much all days off canceled. If we had a fire engine that had a working pump and motor and wheels, we put firefighters on it. Up in LA, we sent 9 strike teams of engine. That's 45 engines, hand crew, bulldozer, helicopter. We sent 10 damage inspectors. So that's really important for the residents to begin their recovery. So we have inspectors that go out and catalog whether damage, destroyed, or survived, which is the first step in them beginning to start working on their own personal recoveries. We sent 2 arson investigators to assist with an ATF task force to determine the cause of the fire. We sent a search and rescue, our FEMA search and rescue team. We have 3 different kinds of canines at OCFA. We have actually 4 now with behavioral health. Then we have a arson dog. Then we have live find dogs that find people that are alive and trapped in buildings. And then we also have human remains dogs, the cadaver dogs. We sent a team of cadaver dogs up to assist with locating the victims that unfortunately, tragically died in the fire. So we sent a pretty robust response up there. But again, we had to handle our own county. We had 6 starts in this county. Fortunately, we were able to stomp them all. We sent an incredibly robust response to everything. Our normal high watershed dispatch, which is a lot of equipment, almost 29 pieces of equipment. We had 3 strike teams on top of that. We had 5 helicopters. So we really sent the world to ours, and fortunately, we didn't experience a situation that occurred up in LA. Knock on wood, fire season's not over. We had this small rain come through. This was not a season-ending rainstorm, so we're still vulnerable in the county. Chief Hennessy is really, since he's been here, has expanded our capabilities significantly with technologies and equipment. He's become a nationally and internationally recognized fire chief. OCFA is on the map around the world. And it sounds like an exaggeration, but I'm not kidding. We have people from around the world come visit OCFA and tour it. He was on 60 Minutes, as you see there, and if you watch the show, it was pretty emotional for some of his friends and family because he's from that area who lost their homes. He also has a QRF helicopter force with 3 helicopters that we've signed up that drop up to 3,000 gallons of water each and are capable of flying at night too, because fire doesn't stop at night. And it gives us an opportunity there at night sometimes where it calms down, where we can get a little more aggressive with it and with aviation support like that. One of the things that's really neat that we have is cameras all throughout the county. Okay, all through our foothills and wildland areas. Those cameras also have AI technology embedded in them, so they'll pick up a satellite detected heat signature, turn the camera immediately that direction, and notify our command center of a possible start. We had 2 starts this last year that we were notified by this technology before 911 was called, and we were able to go out there and suppress them. Obviously, we had a big fire this year with the airport fire, which was pretty dramatic for our county. Well, that wasn't a wind-driven fire, but it shows you fuel, weather, and topography coming together. Again, for your neighbors feeling a little bit safer and more comfortable in this community is not suspecting of a fire like that. You're not vulnerable to it. Available to have any questions.
Thank you very much, Chief. I appreciate the presentation. I know that there's been a lot of community members that have been concerned and have questions, just wondering what they can do to prepare their family, their neighborhood, and sort of what those risks are for us here in Garden Grove. And so I think this puts to rest some of those fears and also equips them with the information they need to protect their families and still create sort of that go plan, because obviously there's different kinds of natural disasters. I think my question for you is air quality wise. I know that the air quality in those areas affected by the fires predominantly has been very serious. We had this slight rain. Were we ever in what you would say danger in air quality here locally, and has those rains helped clear out some of those issues?
The rains obviously have their pros and cons, then we got mud and debris flows and stuff like that. But thankfully the rains that came on this one were not significantly strong like that and didn't have that kind of impact on the burn area. Clearly they knocked down the ash, right, which lowers the air quality issues. I'm unaware of our Orange County Healthcare Agency declaring any health alerts. They are experts on it and that would do that. Certainly anybody operating up in those areas needs to take protective cautions, because I've been to these events, right? I was in Lahaina, I was in Paradise. I've been through the debris and stuff. It is not debris you want to breathe. So think about 9/11 and what occurred out there with, 5, 10, 15 years later, the cancers and stuff. So protect yourself when you're in those areas. In Orange County itself, I have not heard of an alert.
Thank you very much. Do any of my colleagues have any questions?
I just have a comment. I went last week and sat down with OCFA for the first time as the new director there, and what an eye-opening experience. It really, and the professionalism, the sheer competency of an agency, you're overwhelmed with it when you get there. So I just want to reassure everyone, within the OCFA jurisdiction, not just Garden Grove, but of course Garden Grove, but the entire jurisdiction, you're in good hands. you're in good hands. These people plan things, they have systems in place, things that, you know, the OCFA 101 where you get this big, here, read this, learn this, and, you know, you sit there for 3 days going, oh God, what's this and what's that? I mean, it's a big eye opener. So anyway, kudos to OCFA, and I want to assure everybody within their boundaries what a great top-notch organization they truly are.
Thank you, Councilmember. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, congratulations, George. I think you represent us well on the OCFR board, OCFA, and I readily commend your preparedness and your presentation tonight. I know we talked Lahaina. You and I talked.
Correct,
You had family and history with Lahaina. You were there. I visited shortly after you came back from there. Paradise and the Palisades now. Yes, they have conditions that we don't have, but we can have smaller fires, which I am constantly talking to you about what happens in our city. We have fires. Might not be whole blocks, but whole strip malls, yes. A few houses, yes. So we're actively fighting those fires from time to time, almost on a weekly basis. So I just want to tell the public not to be complacent about it. We're reporting to you that we don't have those dangerous conditions, but it still can happen. Not whole blocks, but real property and businesses can be lost to fires. Some of it's arson, some of it's intentional, some of it's accidental, just people trying to stay warm that trigger these fires. So if you see something, say something. Yes, prevent it, report it, and let OCFA stop it before it becomes, you know, blocks of damages around our city. So I don't want anybody to be complacent just because we're prepared and we don't have those hazardous conditions, that it can't happen in our city. Yes, it can. If we don't prune the trees, if we don't take care of the hazardous materials, and if we are not vigilant about arsonists and even accidental fires, then we're going to have fires in our city, and I'm going to stamp it out. I want everybody to be vigilant, report it, and let OCFA do their job. But they can't do it if they don't know what's going on, because it can go up very fast. Within an hour, those buildings will be lost. So just be vigilant and report. Thank you.
Really
Mayor,
quick.
If I can add to that, Mayor Pro Tem, it's a great comment. We just had 2 fires in 12 hours, right? We had one at about midnight, one in the morning, and then another one first thing in the morning. Many of those fires don't make the news because of the efforts of your firefighters. You have a great firefighter team here. Both those fires were knocked out, not newsworthy. You know, they're very profoundly impactful to the families. I encourage you to follow OCFA at OC Fire Authority on Instagram, OCFA Division 1, for tips and helpful hints on keeping yourself safe.
Actually, you just did exactly what I was gonna say. So we receive, you know, our staff provide us the, you know, little fire here and there, and we appreciate that our staff keep us updated on what's going on in the city. But also, I want the city, like the residents, to know the hard work, like all the things that you guys do that keep us safe. When I did the ride along, I just see how professional they was, and they just keep the, you know, anyone that they talk to, they make them feel safe and feel that, yes, someone actually, you know, watch over your life or your well-being, but also the fire. So I know that you said some of them did not make the news, and our council members receive that very regularly. And I just want to take the opportunity to recognize the hard work that your crews put in. And so thank you so much for putting yourself in danger and to save other people. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you again, Chief. Appreciate it. Oh, you had a comment? I apologize. Yes.
First, I compliment for your presentation. And as I know how damaging the LA fire is, and you guys, our fire first responder did a great job. But I have a lot of my constituents would like to know if you will receive volunteer that help, not a trained fire department, fighter.
Did we receive?
Do you have a volunteer fire department?
We do have some volunteer stations at OCFA, kind of more up in our canyons, but all the For the most part, all the fire stations in the cities, like in Garden Grove, are staffed with full-time career professional firefighters. When what we do have is the best mutual aid system in the world. Not only in the state of California being able to order resources. I was ordering resources 10, 20, 30 strike teams at a time for the airport fire. They were ordering up to 50 and 100 at a time up in LA. We have EMAC agreements, emergency management agreements with the states around us, and we can get fire engines from those states as well. So, you know, there are places for reserve firefighters, but the way your city is covered right now is by full-time professional firefighters.
If there is volunteer, what is the requirement? Age?
Yeah, 18 years of age and a high school diploma is the minimum requirement to be a reserve firefighter or a volunteer firefighter. And if anybody's interested, there are places in the county, like our helicopter program has volunteer support there. At ocfa.org, you can find additional information.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. City Manager, any other comments for this evening?
No, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Okay, City Attorney, I believe we have to report out.
Yes, Mayor, we did have a closed session earlier this evening, and there's actually no reportable action out of that item. Thank you.
Very good. All right, with that, we will go ahead and adjourn. Thank you so much. Have a good night.